The world doesn't always play fair. You can be honest and still get betrayed. You can be skilled and still get overlooked. But some people, they see it coming. They never get caught off guard. They never get used. They never get manipulated. These are the people who understand human psychology at a level most people never reach. They're not cynical. They're not cold. They're just aware. And that awareness, it protects them. If you've ever felt like people take advantage of you, if you've ever trusted someone who didn't deserve it, if you've ever wondered why some people always seem 3 steps ahead, this video is for you. Today you'll discover the 8 psychological traits that make someone nearly impossible to manipulate. Not because they're mean, not because they don't trust anyone, but because they understand the game well enough to protect themselves. Let's break it down. People who can't be manipulated don't tell everyone everything. They share selectively, carefully, strategically, not because they're secretive, because they understand that information is power. When you reveal everything about yourself, you give people the exact blueprint for how to control you. Your fears, your desires, your weaknesses. Smart people keep some cards close to their chest. They answer questions without revealing their full hand. They share stories without exposing their vulnerabilities. They're friendly without being an open book. This isn't about being mysterious for attention. It's about maintaining boundaries. Think about the people in your life who are hardest to manipulate. They probably don't overshare. They don't broadcast every thought and feeling. They don't give you their entire life story on the first meeting. Your information is your power. The less people know about what drives you, the less they can use it against you. When you practice strategic privacy, people respect you more because they can't figure you out completely. And what people can't figure out, they can't control. Here's something manipulative people hate: someone who can adapt to any situation. People who can't be manipulated adjust their communication style based on who they're talking to. Not because they're fake, because they're socially intelligent. You already do this naturally. You talk differently to your boss than you do to your friends. You act differently at a funeral than you do at a party. But unmanipulatable people make this intentional. Are they dealing with someone logical? They use facts and data. Are they dealing with someone emotional? They connect with feelings. Are they dealing with someone practical? They show results. This flexibility makes them impossible to corner. Manipulators rely on predictable reactions, but when you can shift your approach, you're always 1 step ahead. It's like water. It takes the shape of any container, but it never loses what it is. You're still you. You're just smart enough to communicate in the language that works best for each situation. And people who can't adapt, they're the easiest to manipulate because they're predictable. This is the big one. People who can't be manipulated aren't desperate for anything. They're not desperate for approval, not desperate for success, and that makes them free. Here's the psychology. When you need something badly, you become vulnerable to anyone who can give it to you or take it away. Imagine 2 people in a negotiation. One person desperately needs the deal. The other would like the deal, but has other options. Who has the power? The one who's willing to walk away. This doesn't mean not caring about anything. It means not being controlled by your need for anything. When you're not afraid of being alone, people can't threaten you with abandonment. When you're not desperate for approval, people can't control you with validation or criticism. The paradox is this: the less you need something, the more likely you are to get it, because desperation repels. Independence attracts. Practice letting go of outcomes. Don't be so attached to winning every argument. Don't be so desperate to be liked. Don't be so afraid of losing what you have. Emotional independence isn't about being cold, it's about being free. Most people are terrified of silence, so they fill it with words. And those words, they reveal everything. People who can't be manipulated are perfectly comfortable with silence. They don't feel the need to explain themselves constantly. They don't rush to fill awkward pauses. They don't over-justify their decisions. And that silence? It's powerful. When someone asks you a difficult question and you pause, they get uncomfortable. They start talking. They reveal their hand. When you're comfortable not explaining yourself, people can't use your explanations against you. In conversations, silence creates leverage. Most people are so uncomfortable with it, they'll say anything to break it, often more than they intended. In negotiations, silence means you're not showing your desperation. You're not revealing your limits. In relationships, silence means you're not chasing validation or seeking constant reassurance. The person who needs to talk less has more power. Smart people understand this. They speak when it adds value. They're quiet when silence serves them better. And manipulators hate this because they rely on getting you to talk, to explain, to reveal yourself. People who can't be manipulated are incredible listeners, but not for the reasons you think. They're not listening to be nice. They're listening to understand what you really want. Most people listen to respond. They're already planning what they'll say next while you're still talking. But unmanipulatable people listen to decode. They listen for the emotion behind your words, the need behind your request, the fear behind your anger. And once they understand what drives you, they can't be played, because they see the game before it starts. If someone complains about being overwhelmed, most people offer sympathy or advice. But a strategic listener hears, "I want recognition for my hard work," or "I'm looking for an excuse to say no." When you understand what people really want, you can decide whether to give it to them or not. But you're never caught off guard. This skill also protects you from emotional manipulation. When someone tries to make you feel guilty, you recognize it as a manipulation tactic, not a genuine emotion you need to fix. Deep listening isn't about being kind, it's about being informed. And information is protection. People who can't be manipulated have strong values, but they're not rigid about how they apply them. They understand that the real world is complicated, that sometimes the right answer isn't obvious, that different situations require different responses. This doesn't mean having no morals. It means understanding that morality isn't always black and white. Sometimes being kind in the short term enables bad behavior in the long term. Sometimes being harsh in the moment protects people in the future. The key is this: they focus on outcomes, not appearances. They ask, what action leads to the best result for everyone involved? Not, what action makes me look good? This makes them impossible to guilt trip or shame into bad decisions. Manipulators love people who follow rigid rules, because rules are predictable. But when you're pragmatic, you can adapt your response to the situation. Your values don't change, your principles don't change, but your tactics can adjust based on what actually works. And that flexibility makes you impossible to corner. In a world where everyone overshares on social media, the person who shares strategically has an advantage. People who can't be manipulated don't post every thought, every feeling, every detail of their lives. Not because they're hiding, because they understand that once information is out there, it can't be taken back. And everything you reveal can be used. They share enough to build genuine connections, but not so much that people have ammunition against them. They understand timing. The same piece of information can have completely different impacts depending on when it's revealed. For example, revealing a skill early might seem like bragging. Revealing the same skill when it's needed to solve a problem makes you a hero. This isn't manipulation. It's strategy. Your life isn't content. Your struggles aren't entertainment. Your vulnerabilities aren't community-building tools. They're yours, and you get to decide who deserves access to them. People who overshare give manipulators everything they need. People who share strategically stay protected. This is what separates people who can be manipulated from people who can't. Manipulatable people care about being right, being liked, looking good. Unmanipulatable people care about results. They don't waste energy on ego battles. They don't get distracted by drama. They don't need to win every argument. They ask, what outcome am I trying to achieve? And then they do whatever actually works. This means they're not attached to one method. If something isn't working, they change course. They're not stubborn about how they achieve their goals, only about achieving them. In arguments, they're not trying to prove they're right, they're trying to reach a resolution. Sometimes that means conceding. Sometimes that means walking away. Sometimes that means standing firm, whatever gets the result. This focus on outcomes makes them immune to manipulation tactics like guilt, flattery, or threats. Because they're not playing the emotional game, they're playing the results game. And when you're focused on results, people can't distract you with drama. Let's recap. People who can't be manipulated have these 8 traits. Strategic privacy. They don't overshare. Social flexibility. They adapt their communication. Emotional independence. They're not desperate for anything. Comfortable silence. They don't need to fill every pause. They understand what people really want. Principled pragmatism. They focus on outcomes, not appearances. Controlled revelation. They share strategically, results-focused. They care about what works, not what looks good. Here's what I want you to understand. These traits aren't about being cold or untrusting. They're about being protected. You can still be kind. You can still care about people. You can still build deep relationships. But you do it from a position of strength, not vulnerability. The difference between being manipulated and being protected isn't about trusting less, it's about understanding more. Pick one trait from this list, just one, and practice it for the next 7 days. Notice how people respond differently. Notice how you feel more in control. Notice how much harder it becomes for anyone to use you. Because the goal isn't to manipulate others, the goal is to make yourself unmanipulatable. If this resonated with you, comment "I see it now" below. Let's build a community of people who understand psychology well enough to protect themselves, because the most valuable person in any room isn't the one who can manipulate it. Which kind of person are you becoming?